Are you a physical collector? That is a very important question in the modern era, as it can sometimes be the difference between you being able to play a game again and not being able to play a game again. Going full digital can lead to games being erased, complete shows disappearing from the face of the earth, and lost media. Digital media can be split into many different categories, whether it be video games, TV shows, music, or movies. But let's begin with video games. Digital-only games can be traced all the way back to the Super Famicom. The Super Famicom is the Japan-only version of the SNES. You Americans made it look different though, for some reason. I don't know, what were you doing? The Super Famicom had an add-on called the Satellaview. The Satellaview would broadcast games, just like a radio, to your Super Famicom for you to play at specific times. It would also broadcast audio at the same time as the games, and then you'd hear the audio over the games, but it'd be high quality because it's not coming from the Super Famicom, it's like a radio signal. It's a bit complicated. Many games such as BS Super Mario or BS The Legend of Zelda were available. BS Legend of Zelda was a full SNES remake of the very first Legend of Zelda game, and BS Mario was just Super Mario All-Stars, but like slightly different. And there was full voice acting in some of them, and it was higher quality than anything an SNES could ever do sometime. However, many of these games are now lost to time, or certain sections of some of the game. Like BS Legend of Zelda has certain sections of it that are lost, but some of it that's completed because each section was broadcast at different times. Therefore, these games are just lost media. They're gone. We can't play them unless Nintendo were to re-release them, but there's no chance that Nintendo are actually going to help you play some of their older games. I mean, for God's sake, I had to buy a bloody Super Famicom to play half of these games. And this sucks because some of them were really, really cool. The really, really cool ones, though, happen to mostly be the ones that we can still play, but can't play them legally, Nintendo. Why can't we play them legally? And lost media is such a common thing in the digital age. There are lists of shows that we just can't find anymore. The shows may have not been that fantastic, but they're gone. We can't watch them ever again. Minecraft Story Mode is another classic tale in the digital-only tales, like it's a book, like at the start of Shrek. The game was released in 2015, being the first official spin-off to Minecraft ever officially released. Of course, there was Minecraft Pocket Edition and then the console version, but they're not spin-offs to Minecraft, they're just Minecraft, but somewhere else, whereas this was a spin-off. It wasn't Minecraft, it was different. It was developed by Telltale Games. The game was split into different episodes, just like the rest of the Telltale games, like episode 1 of season 1, and then there was season 2, and all that fun stuff. But the only way to get the entire season was if you got a physical release. Then you'd have to wait for the episodes to come out, if you got the physical release, because it released when episode 1 came out. Kind of a weird strategy, but whatever. However, in 2018, Telltale was having money troubles and completely shut down. Because of this, Minecraft Story Mode was completely taken off every single digital storefront that it was available on. At one point before it was going to get taken down, Xbox raised the price that each episode would be $100 just so you didn't purchase it. They're trying to trick you. And then it got released on Netflix for a while, but now that version's gone as well, I think. So, can't play Minecraft Story Mode digitally anymore. Of course, Minecraft Story Mode had physical releases, and the digital releases were most likely backed up at some point, because it's a very big game. But just think of the smaller games, like indie games, that never really had that much success, and then the digital storefront that it was on was taken down. They're lost media for good. We can never play them ever again. PT was a playable demo created by Konami and Hideo Kojima, and it was a playable demo for a new Silent Hill game titled Silent Hills. The demo took the internet by storm because heaps of people didn't actually know what the demo was for, because it wasn't promoted as a Silent Hills demo, it was promoted as PT, or playable teaser. Because, you know, like a teaser trailer. Kinda cool. However, Hideo Kojima and Konami had a massive falling out. One that shocked the entire world of video games. Because of this, we saw the removal of Hideo Kojima's name from Metal Gear Solid 5, like it used to say on the cover, a Hideo Kojima game, and it doesn't anymore. I don't have a physical copy to prove it to you, but just trust me. And then we saw the eventual decline of the Metal Gear series with Metal Gear Survive, and then Kojima went on to make Death Stranding, and then Death Stranding, but again. The game, after the falling out, was completely removed from the PlayStation Store, as in PT, not Metal Gear Solid 5. We're going back to PT. If you already had the game in your library, but it not installed, you couldn't even reinstall the game. This game, although most likely backed up somewhere, like I wouldn't be shocked if it was, is now completely unplayable due to a falling out. Now, do you want me to remind you about how digital gaming is a good thing? If this was released physically, you would still be able to play it. It might be very rare, but a physical release would still exist. If you have Flappy Bird on your phone, do not uninstall it. This is the common statement related to the video game Flappy Bird for mobile devices. Flappy Bird became an international icon, with gamers playing it, raging at it, YouTubers making videos about it like PewDiePie, but people did genuinely love the game. However, in 2014, Flappy Bird was taken off all digital platforms, which was the only place the game was ever released, because it's a mobile game and that's how they were. I died! This was due to the creator of the game, Dong Nguyen, taking down the game off of all of these platforms, saying that he couldn't take it anymore. People speculated the reasons. Was it because of the Mario pipes in the game? Was it for other reasons? It's because Nguyen thought that people got too addicted to playing Flappy Bird and wouldn't focus on their jobs or even recording a YouTube video, and instead playing Flappy Bird the entire time while recording a video. Oh. This led to phones that had Flappy Bird on it selling for $1,000 that had copies of Flappy Bird on it. Now, of course, I have Flappy Bird. I was just playing it 2 seconds ago, but I downloaded an archived version of the game. I didn't get it when it came out. Not that smart. Fun fact though, there's actually a spin-off of Flappy Bird titled Flappy Bird Family, which is only available on like those Amazon Fire Stick things. But when that's taken down, there won't be any official way to play any version of Flappy Bird anymore, which really sucks because people did genuinely like the game. So I do hope that Flappy Bird Family is archived somewhere. I'm a YouTuber and I release things digitally too, like this very video you're watching is only released digitally. And I run a company where I mostly only release digital products, with the exception of a few things. Final Adventure, a game that I made, is only available on digital platforms, and I do wish that wasn't the case. That means that if these digital platforms are taken down, and I didn't have the files for the game, I could lose this game forever. Luckily, I do still have an archived version of every single version of the game that was ever made. But this is what happens with digital games. But something we really haven't talked about is TV shows. You all know The Office US, right? The show with Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute. As an owner of the entire series on DVD, yes, including The Office Overtime, which is a collection of the digital shorts that they made, which is good because then you know, they were only digital, but now they're not. Anyway, I think you can tell that I like the show. However, when we look at the digital release of the series, we start to notice that there are some differences between the DVD release, which is the version of the show that aired on TV, and the Netflix or other digital version. A very specific example from the Netflix release is a scene in the episode Traveling Salesman in Season 3. The episode opens with Michael having created a robot computer guy who talks to Jim and Pam, but that's only on the Netflix release. However, on the DVD release, that scene doesn't exist on that episode. It's in the deleted scenes part of the DVD, but it's not on the episode. What's with the changes to the digital release? What happens if people love this version of the episode more than the DVD release? But then this version is never released again. And what happens to the digital-only Office Superfan episodes? They're already hard enough to find as it is, with it only releasing in the US on Peacock, because Peacock only exists in the US. And it's almost impossible to pirate. Like, it would take me months to find some of these episodes sometimes. What happens to those? Because they don't have a physical release. Many shows also have slight alterations to remove offensive content, which is honestly fair enough. This show does it in Season 9. But it does mean that the versions of the episodes that we watch now are the altered versions. This isn't the only show that does this either. Community is a strange one, because yeah, there's an entire episode removed due to blackface, which is fair enough. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It shouldn't have been there in the first place. The Advanced Dungeons & Dragons episode. But this episode was highly regarded. It was like known as one of the best episodes of Community, and the only way to watch it is a DVD release. Although it's probably been archived like a million times because it was only taken down in 2020. But Community also has a difference in the very first episode of the show. The opening of the first episode is shortened on Netflix for some reason. The very beginning of the episode cuts out the majority of the opening joke for no reason. Some people speculate that this could be because the version on Netflix is the version that originally aired, whereas the version in most other ways is the version that was extended on the DVD. But the fact that there's even this difference is really weird. And with the Community movie, that's most likely going to be only a digital release as well, going straight to Peacock. Are we going to let it become lost media? Most likely not. Community is a big series. But still, that is weird. Now we get to the worst offender of digital-only content. In 2020, Mario was celebrating his 35th anniversary of the original Super Mario Bros. With this, we got Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Super Mario Bros. 35, and Super Mario All-Stars on SNES Online. Now, Super Mario All-Stars on SNES Online is just a re-release of a game that you can already get physically, both on the Wii and the SNES. And Super Mario 3D All-Stars was only available to purchase online until March 31st, 2021. But if you were to walk into any store, you could probably find a copy of it perfectly fine, because they made so many that it's not that difficult to get. Although I did get it on release day, which happened to be my birthday. Thanks, Nintendo! They also released Fire Emblem, the very first one, and the first time it was released in English, and it was an NES game. But it was only available until the 31st of March 2021. But you could play it after purchasing it. It's not like you couldn't play it ever again. But that's still ridiculously stupid that that was the case, because what if I want to play Fire Emblem? I don't, but what if I did? But the worst offender is Super Mario Bros. 35. Super Mario Bros. 35 was an online-only game, only available digitally, where you could play the first Mario game as if it was a battle royale, similar to Tetris 99. However, you can't play this game ever again, at all. This game is completely offline, never to be played again. This is stupid. This is awful. This is so bad for a game that was honestly such a fantastic game. Like, I really loved playing Super Mario Bros. 35. This is why I can't stand digital-only media. If you go all digital, you can find that all your games are completely gone after a while. But I get it. It helps the environment. Of course it does. Like, literally, physical games are made out of so much plastic it's ridiculous. But I can't help but thinking we're going into a new age of lost media, which isn't fun for anyone.